Hello and welcome, guys. Today I have a Speedroid deck profile. So this is for going first. I would like to preface this by saying maybe this deck shouldn't go first. I'm not really sure yet. I haven't done enough testing recently. I will, however, probably end up doing a going second deck profile for it. But speaking of which, you can always keep going second cards in your side deck and swap it around and doing. Thanks, Cat. Whether you want to go first or second is up to you, basically, and how you feel on the day, what you feel you're more comfortable with, and blah, blah, blah. All right, so let's just get into it. So starting with the main deck, we've got 3 Speedroid Marble Machine. Now, it's been a while since I even read these card names. 3 Tekatomborgs, 3 Speedroid Red-Eyed Dice, 3 Speedroid Double Yo-Yo, 2 Speedroid Horse Stilts, 2 Speedroid Ohaja Kids, 2 Speedroid Pachinko Carts, and 2 Speedroid Den Den Daiko Duke, 1 Speedroid Passing Glider, 1 Speedroid Rubber Band Plane, 1 Speedroid Terratop. Thanks for being limited still. You really need to come off. This deck was a lot more consistent when Terratop was at 3. And 2 the Tricky, and 1 Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds. Now, I only have 1, so that's why I'm playing 1 of that. So starting with the main deck, the monsters, it's pretty monster heavy. And because this deck's like a synchro engine, a lot of these cards can kind of bounce off each other. Like, if there's no cards on the field, special summon this, then you normal summon this card, that special summon something from the graveyard, then you have the Tricky to dump something in your graveyard to get back, or to special summon something else. Anyway, it's just kind of, there's not many spells and traps that assist this deck too much, at least, especially the beginning of the game. That's where you kind of need your Terratops, you need your Tekatomborgs, and Marble Machine, and the Tricky. A few more cards stand out at the beginning of the game, and a few more cards stand out in the middle, but as we know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, very fast pace. Sometimes duels are even decided just on turn 1, like, let alone the second player getting their first turn. So it's funny. This deck, it's definitely more for fun. I wouldn't say it's super competitive because some of the cards it can spew out, they're all wind, and it pretty much locks itself into wind. When Speedroids first came out, they actually mostly used I saw a lot of Red Archfiend Dragon cores for it, like in the extra deck and stuff like that, because Tekatomborg, I think, was the only one that limited it to wind, and the rest of them just sort of bounced off each other, plus 3 Terratop really helped for searching and stuff like that. But now, there's not too many good cards you can end on. I'd say the best card you can end on is, where are we? Maybe Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, which isn't even that good all the time. And sometimes hard to get to. But this deck can do it. It definitely can. So you might want to change up some of your spells and traps to help you last a few more turns, so to speak. I'll leave that up to you guys, but I'll show you what I do. So let's jump into the spells and traps now. We go 3 Speed Lifts. Now the problem is I should probably be running a few more different tuners. Currently, I think I'm only running 5 out of this whole deck, which, if you think about it, it's not very good because sometimes they're not the best at searching themselves. Like, Terratop was the only way to do that, and he's limited. So, but this, if you control exactly 1 tuner and no other monsters, you can special summon another level 4 or lower Speedroid from your deck. And neither player can activate cards or effects in response to that monster special summon. Oh, hang on, sorry. Neither player can activate cards or effects when that monster is special. Yeah, so basically, spell speed 4 then. Unless they can negate it at the beginning. Oh man, I'm too confused. I've just been staring at these cards for so long, trying to figure out a good way to do them. This deck, I'm not even sure anymore. 3 Speed Recovery, good for special summoning yourself from the graveyard. Also, secondary effect. Except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Speedroid monster in your graveyard, add it to the hand. So that can be nice, obviously. We got 3 Pot of Desires, just with a bit of extra draw power. As I've stated just a few times, this deck, not the best with getting the cards you want. Dark Factory Mass Production doesn't really work in this deck either, because it only has 2, or at least my version only has 2 monsters that have under 500 attack, and one of them I only run 2 of, so at least from memory. 3 Called by the Grave, because you want any bloody searches you might be able to get out. You want them. You want them. You want them to stay. Instant Fusion for the free material. And Into the Void. Interesting choice, I know. You could just play Upstart Goblin, but I find sometimes just loading up your graveyard with whatever you got left in your hand, you can set what spells and traps you need. But if you've got some extra monsters, like sometimes with this deck, they prefer to be in the graveyard than in your hand. Some of them, I'd say about half. Half prefer to just be in your graveyard and half prefer to be in your hand. So obviously it's a tricky choice. You don't have to activate it. You can just use Into the Void as discard fodder if you want, or you can even just go play Upstart Goblin. But with this tricky, I mean, maybe you could play Upstart Goblin for games 1 and 2 and then swap out to Into the Void for game 3. I don't know, but it's just loading up the graveyard can be nice sometimes. So that's it for the spells. No traps either. So we'll move on to the extra deck now. Okay, starting with 2 High Speedroid Rubber Band Shooter. This is pretty good. So this lets you, once you bring it out, you can do another special summon. Special. You're allowed to normal summon immediately after this effect resolves. And for the rest of your turn, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except Synchro monsters. So if you're going to use Instant Fusion, you want to use it first. And obviously you can't link again after this because you're locked to Synchros. But the next part about this effect is what's nice. You can banish 1 Wind Synchro monster from your extra deck, reveal 2 Speedroid monsters with different names from your deck whose total level equal the level of that Synchro monster. Your opponent randomly picks 1 for you to add to your hand, and you can send the other to the graveyard. You can only use each effect of High Speedroid Rubber Band Shooter once per turn. So the beautiful part about that is, actually, I'll come back to that. I'll show you a couple good choices for that card in a minute. Let's leave that here to remember. We have 2 High Speedroid Chenbara. Obviously, good card for doing some damage. You can only summon 1 once per turn. It doesn't put out OTK potential, and there's no real way to boost its attack other than by its own effect when it's attacking. 1 High Speedroid Puzzle. So we've got to cover our levels here as well. We got level 5, level 4, High Speedroid Kendama, level 6, High Speedroid Kiten Jake, I'm pretty sure 8, yeah. Let me double check that. 9? 8. What am I doing? I'm so stupid. High Speedroid Hagoja, level 5. And then onto our Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon and Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. Clear Wing's pretty much probably what you're going to be doing and using to then bring out Crystal Wing, because you need 1 tuner and 1 non-tuner Synchro monster. So most of the time, and this will be what comes back to Rubber Band Shooter, so I'll leave those there for now. We also have 1 Black Rose Moonlight Dragon, 1 Hot Red Dragon Archfiend, 1 Old Entity Hastor, and 1 Alligator Sword Dragon. Now that was just the first Wind level 5 I found, so I can use that for Instant Fusion. I don't even know where I got this card, but there we go. Alright, let's talk about this High Speedroid Rubber Band Shooter for a minute. When you're using its effect and you're sending, if you manage to get Rubber Band Shooter and say Clear Wing on the field, which you can, it's not impossible, it can happen often, especially you get a few options with these cards and you kind of have to think pretty hard about how you're going to get to your end board. It's not as autopilot-y as some of the current decks are. But basically, one of your best choices with Rubber Band Shooter, when you're banishing from your extra deck, you obviously have to pick 2 monsters, 2 Speedroid monsters, and your opponent randomly chooses 1 of them. And what card am I missing here? Oh, extra deck card. Right. Right, well, this is where we use Old Entity Hastor. He's level 4. So you're going to use his effect, send Hastor, and then pick out of these three, whichever one suits you. You can still choose Terratop, because that can still lead to many different things. Okay, but for the main purposes, if you pick these two cards and you've got you send Alternate Hastor, it's level 4. These equal level 4. They have to equal level 4. But these two are basically the same card. So no matter which one goes to the graveyard, Takaton Borgwen, we can then normal summon this or use one of our other methods to special summon it. Vice versa, if that goes to the graveyard and you get Takaton Borg to hand, you can just special summon it because you have a win monster, tribute it, and literally special summon a Speedroid Red-Eye dice from your deck. Then synchro, and then you have your Crystal Wing. It's pretty complicated, and you only get one negate out of it, so I really don't know if it's worth it, and I just don't know if this deck's worth going first or not, but that's just what you're meant to do. So, and that's one way to end with at least some options. That's basically where I'd like to leave you guys. Let me know in the comments if you do want a going second version of this deck, or if you're just not interested as well. You could just tell me, nope, let's leave Speedroids behind in the dust because they deserve it, and I would fully understand. This is a deck like I used to have a lot of fun playing with when they first came out in High Speed Riders. Times were different back then. Yu-Gi-Oh was a little different back then. No Link monsters, obviously less locking yourself to win, so you could use a lot of other deck cores, which was quite fun. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks guys for watching, and just, you know, let me know what you want to see in the comments. I do also have a Monarchs and maybe a Dragon Link deck coming at some point. We'll see. Thank you for watching.